sometimes. At least she can't make a clean sweep. That's been done a couple of times, not in World Championships, but the great Ludmila Teresheva won all 5 medals, the all-round and all the individual apparatus finals in a World Cup once.
Yes, and actually the individual record for the winner of the most medals at the Olympic Games is held by a gymnast, Larissa Latinina. And this, Madrodieva from Bulgaria. Milena Madrodieva.
Yurchenko straight, full twist. She's a very elegant gymnast, and she does hold that straight position beautifully.
And the person who wins the gold medal will have to produce the highest, longest, tightest vault and land it without a murmur. Madrodieva. Nice shape from the top of the apparatus. A little bit untidy with the arms coming out, but a definite instability on landing. And it's not just the landing, but the landing is the result of the technique of the vault. And that's why the judges are so heavy on landing penalties.
And that first vault, 9.912. Good balance between the judges. The top 9.95, the bottom 9.9. So they all agree about that one.
And now to the second vault. In the individual apparatus final, it isn't the best vault that counts. Both vaults are important. Both scores are counted. There. Now that is versatility. She could have done a Yurchenko straight. Unfortunately, she chose to do a handspring front and didn't quite make it.
Certainly nice to see a complete change of vault. The plant right on the front of the horse, holding the pike position, and that knee down, not quite a fall. And the first up in the men's pommel horse final, Igor Korobchinsky. The moment a Russian gymnast goes onto the pommel horse, you can notice a different line to anybody else. Look at him, so much in control. He started slowly, did a spindle very slowly, and then worked up the pace into that travel along the horse. Those legs locked together until he intentionally goes into the flares.
For the first time ever, I've noticed the horse moving whilst Korobchinsky was working on it. Wouldn't be at all surprised if somebody came and tightened it up, because it's a bit disconcerting to have the horse wobble around. There's a chain underneath where it can be stabilized. Lovely high movement of the hips from the apparatus.
There, the spindle on the end of the horse, the most difficult place, because if you get the balance wrong, you can't put a hand down behind you. There's nothing there.
The overhead view really showing the difficulty. The whole of the exercise is spent on one arm, and now the travel in the middle of the pommels and then right to the end for his dismount.
Van D to vault. This beautiful Chinese gymnast, perhaps lacking in power a little.
Brilliant. I'm really pleased to see that. Opening vault, sweet as a nut. Nice still landing, good body tension.
Comes from Shanghai. And vault, very much a power event, Monica. A nice surprise to see her in the final.
A very nice surprise. Considering that she's so slight, she really punched off the top of the horse there. Propulsion from the top of the horse, the lift into the air, is paramount. Spending as little time. Really, they don't land on and thrust off. They just touch it in passing.
Mavrodieva scored 9.812 for her vault. So that's the benchmark that the other gymnasts have to go by.
Score hasn't gone up for her first vault yet, but now her second vault.
It's there, 9.937.
Sukahara tucked. Well, she obviously was struggling to find a second vault different to the Yurchenko. And the Sukahara tucked has a low tariff. The maximum score she can get on that is 9.5. But I would suspect that Fandi was quite surprised to get into the vault final.
Fandi, 16 years old, just about the absolute ideal height for a gymnast, 1.52 m, weighs 41 kgs. And Karabczynski, 9.687 on pommel. The judges there certainly marking very strictly, leaving themselves somewhere to go. That's good to see, because too often you'll find somebody being given a 9.9 early in the competition and then something much better comes up. Li Jing onto pommel. Really working up ahead of steam there. Not only the flares, with the legs circling round his arms, but also twice there, the body turning on its longitudinal axis.
Very difficult work, going for a walk from one end of the apparatus to the other, and that was brilliant. That's where Karabczynski lacked, on that intense difficulty. Jing linking together superior difficulty after superior difficulty.
There'll be a few purists who will think there was too big a content of flares in this exercise and not enough double leg circling, but he fulfilled the requirements of the code. There you can see much better from the top those twists as he's spinning.
And of course, in the individual apparatus final, because they're expected to do more moves of difficulty, they do less moves of simplicity. And just look at this travel. The pirouette from one end right over the pommels to the other end in perfect control. It's real mastery.
Fandi's vault, 9.937. That's the score that she takes through. She's in the gold medal position at the moment. Next to go, Gabriela Potorac from Romania. And the Romanians, in a way, have taken a bit of a hammering in these championships. They'll be very anxious to redeem themselves today.
Yes, they started off on the 1-2-3 yesterday, but dropped back sadly. Some very disappointing stuff. Potorac, silver medalist in Seoul, but she has grown tremendously recently, and her power to weight ratio has gone. That is her strength pound for pound of her body weight. So she is struggling just a little. That was a full twist in the Yurchenko.
Wir warten auf die Wertung von Gabriela Potorac aus Rumänien für ihren ersten Sprung.
There you can see the judges: Canada, Switzerland, West Germany, Sweden, Israel, Korea in this competition.
Die 9,950.
First vault score for Potorac, 9.950.
Let me just correct the Fan D situation. Her carry-through score after the 9.2 for the second vault, 9.568.
Sukahara straight from Potterack, choosing two simpler vaults than she normally prefers, but both performed to a good standard, so that should bring her a high average. The final score is the average of the two. Slack knees manifesting themselves there in the slow motion shot. Valentin McGillney. European champion on pommels. This man, a great stylist. Long, elegant, very powerful upper body. Oh, yes. Now lifting the hips high into the flares. And rotating as he goes. Back into the double leg circles. And this, the shears section.
Well, it's such a difficult exercise, I'm almost loath to say it, but a little bit hesitant at the end there. Not the very best that I've seen McGillney perform.
Seemed to me a very long routine.
And I think that was reflected in a little bit of tiredness towards the end. He does put so much into it. There, he dropped very low indeed, but got it back.
Potterack's second vault score, 9.537, giving her an average of 9.743. That's her final score.
Japan, Brazil, Sweden, Yugoslavia, South Korea and Spain providing the judges for that contest. Well, I said I was loath to say it. A 10 up there for McGillney. Larissa Loewen now. And a little fall forward. And I'm afraid that's her chances ruined. A case there, Monica, with McGillney scoring a 10 on the pommel. He was getting tired at the end, but nobody else could have just put that amount of work into it, could they? Look, all the judges agreed.
It was a long routine. It had so much difficulty. And let's face it, he's such a perfectionist that a slight mistake looks apparent because his arms are always so straight.
McGillney, the first man to get a 10 in these championships, and that was on the pommel too.
Well, John, we'll know he'll get a gold, but will he have it to himself? That's the point. Now Larissa Loewen onto her second vault. Tragedy on her first. Landed on hands and feet, under-rotated, probably lacking in commitment. Very nerve-wracking for inexperienced performers who haven't got this far in a major championship. It's quite something to be out on the podium amongst the top 8 in the world and being able to cope with it.
This vault final, it's still Mavrodieva from Bulgaria who leads 9.812. She was the first to go, but Fendi and Potterack both making mistakes. Larissa Loewen waiting for the first score to come up. We know it's going to be down in the low nines because of the fall. And on the pommel horse, Korobczynski, 9.687. He's in the bronze medal position at the moment, but I don't think he'll stay there. Li Jing, 9.937, and Valentin McGillney, a 10.
And it's after a fall like Larissa had that it's difficult for the judges, because depending on where the judges are sitting in their line, it may appear that she bore all of her weight on her hands, or to others just that she put her fingertips down, and they must decide on a general opinion. There's the score, 9.3.
And I would think there was just one judge who was right out of line, who then agreed that the touchdown was more severe. Oh, and a sit on the second vault too.
Nasty second vault, in as much that it's a blind landing, and if she was hesitant about it already, then it was doomed to failure. Vault is a piece of apparatus of commitment. Marian Reason from Romania to the pommels.
Now's the bit where he really has to work. Nice high shears once he got them going. Now into the flares section, hop change. Difficult at that stage of the exercise when his strength's beginning to give out. Good exercise from the Romanian.
Seeing that in direct comparison to McGillney's, you can just see how long McGillney's exercise was. But Reason putting in all of the required elements.
Larissa Lowing, 9.125 for her second vault. That gave her an average of 9.212. Kristina Bontash, next to go. And nobody really at the moment managing to land two sensational vaults. This final very open and there for the taking.
Full twist in Yurchenko from Kristina Bontash. The end view of the camera belies the straddled legs from the board.
The round off to give her the back mount to the horse. Nice and square. But so many of them just find it difficult to stop the, well, it's backwards momentum at the end, and just have to adjust. The great vault will be the one that just plops down there and doesn't need any of it.
Mind you, that was excellent in as much that she phased the vault. In other words, she had a specific takeoff time from the apparatus, the somersault and the twist, and she finished the twist and got a near straight line before coming into land.
Marianne Reason, 9.9. That takes him into the bronze medal position at the moment. Just reflecting, I'll do it after this because Bontash ready for her second vault. 9.975 she scored for the first. So, depending on what she gets for this one, obviously, but she's looking good for a medal at the moment.
Adrian Goriak, coach to the Romanian team, patting her on the back. And the second vault, front movement in. That's a Cuervo, so it's handspring, half twist, and then backward somersault piked off. That's a full 10 tariff. Good variety from Bontash.
On to pommel, Lee Chunyang. Low over the pommels. He always is, but somehow he doesn't seem to catch them. He terrifies me. Well, he got through it, and there's some very difficult elements in there. I sometimes wonder how he's going to get through it.
Yes, he does have his hips extremely low to the apparatus, which surely can't produce a very high score, but having got this far into the top 8, his work must be appealing.
Kristina Bontash takes the lead in the vault, 9.95.
And here's somebody who could better that, Alessia Dudnik from the Soviet Union. Oh, how about that? What a curler.
Wonderful technique, this girl. When we see it in slow motion, you'll see how late she leaves the twisting.
Dudnik didn't make the top 36, but just look at this. Double twisting Yurchenko, late twist so that she got a nice wide arm wrap so that the twist accelerated quickly.
Find it amazing when she's going for 2 twists, but she really does show that back position first. Look at that, and then goes into the twist and still manages to whip round into 2 of them.
Yes, brilliant. It seems unfair that a full twisting Yurchenko and a double twisting Yurchenko are the same tariff.
And she's got a 10 for it. Dudnik's first vault, the sheer difficulty of the vault and the way she performs it. Just the Brazilian found some small fault in it, but all the others agreed it was a 10, and as the top and bottom marks are discarded, a 10 it is.
I would agree with the Brazilian. I could see some flexion of the knees, but on the other hand, for the sheer volume of activity from the apparatus, it was worth the 10, but not for the 4. Handspring, front somersault, half twist out. Now that isn't a 10 tariff vault, that's only a 9.9. Had she done it in the piked position, it would have been a 10.
Lee Chunyang, 9.875 for his pommel horse. And this is Dimitar Tashkov from Bulgaria. She is, you can see, a totally different line. Oh, and in fact, an off line. He never really looked as if he got started. In fact, he looked like a pretty poor pommel horse worker. We know he can't possibly be that because he qualified for this final, but sometimes, and particularly on this piece of apparatus, you just get it wrong, get the rhythm wrong, and you never really get going.
No, and when you do go wrong, it looks very ugly on the pommel, because the momentum stops so suddenly. Dudnik's second vault, 9.975, so it was in actual fact a 10 tariff, forgetting that the tariff on that had been increased. So that gives her an average of 9.987.
Aus der Uhr-Liste als nächstes bei Vorsprung Natalia Lashinova.
Little Natalia Lashinova. Two gold medals she has, sorry, not 2 gold medals, a gold and a silver she has at the moment.
Lashinova, one of the little powerhouses in gymnastics. Gymnasts need so many qualities. They need grace, strength, suppleness, power. She naturally is powerful. She hasn't had to train too hard on it. Yurchenko, full twist, good line, but just not managing to hold the landing as well as she has done.
Dudnik in the gold medal position at the moment. And Bontash from Romania in the silver medal position, and Mavrodieva from Bulgaria in the bronze position. 9.95. Everybody agreed apart from the Swede, and the .05 coming off, I would think, for the landing. The Swede taking a full .1 off.
Lashinova could upset the apple cart on the position so far. She could nail the landing. Handspring, front 1.5, Barani, that's half a twist out of the somersault. And that is now a 10 tariff. A handspring front 1.5 somersault was increased by 0.1 of a tariff in 1988.
Peshkov just 9.1 for his pommel routine.
Csaba Fajkush from Hungary. Oh, that's a nice, potent start. Oh, dear. Kiss of death from me yet again. Very difficult to regain momentum and composure when something goes so badly wrong.
Csaba Fajkush comes from a long line of Hungarian specialists on the pommel horse, and you could see the dismay on his face as he made a mess of that routine. There's a man who's feeling happy with the well, knows he's got the gold, and with only Andreas Wecker to go, looking more and more likely that he's got it by himself. Brandy Johnson from the USA. Little Lashanova scored 9.868. That takes her into the bronze medal position.
Full twist in Yurchenko from Brandy Johnson. Brandy's was a good vault, but it just didn't have the phasing that some of the better vaults have. We didn't see distinctly the lift from the apparatus, then the twist, and then the landing. And there, apparent from the end, it all blended into one, and the better vaults are distinctly phased.
9.937, so a chance here for Brandy Johnson to get herself into the medals. All the Americans rooting for her. She needs to get above 9.868 to get herself a medal.
And Brandy is capable of this. She's a very powerful girl, and she does have several vaults in her repertoire.
Servo vault, and I think that could have been good enough. She looks happy with it.
This is a very, very difficult vault to do. Now, I said that was a curve. I agreed with John, but it was a very early half twist in the handspring 1.5. Difficult to detect in fast motion which is which.
Again, showing good variety. The rules of vault have actually made it much better now that you do have to do two completely different vaults. The little twist extra, not allowed anymore. You've got to go to a totally different family of vault, but very nice to see some doing front and some doing back. Fajkush 8.7 for his pommel horse, and Brandy Johnson now waiting. It looked good to us. Andreas Wecker, last to go in the pommel horse final.
Nice transition there from Wecker, from high to low. She is always very difficult. Have to be really supple and long-legged to get a good shears section. Little bit late with an arm bend on the end. The slightest arm bend on the top of the apparatus is deductible. Good routine, though.
And Brandy Johnson's scores come up. Her second vault, 9.95, an average of 9.943, and that takes her into the bronze medal position. The Americans will love that. There, a great shot of the spindling in flares. An amazing number of spindles, 3 or 4 complete long rotations of the body while he was circling there in shears. Never once getting his arms out of line with the rest of his body so that he got himself into problems. Tremendous exercise from Becker. And 9.962 for him. Takes him into the silver medal position. McGillney at 10. He's the gold, we knew that already, but Becker doing his utmost. And Brandy Johnson taking third place there. Happy lady. Alessia Dudnik, the gold winner. The scores you see across the top, those for her second vault. Just missed perfection there, 9.975.
So on the vault rostrum, 3 different nations for the ladies. So that's going to be nice. Good start to the events when we see a nice international flavour.
Valentin McGillney, he's been winning medals on the pommel horse forever. He was first in the Montreal World Championships. Always been there and about, won another gold on pommel in the Olympics. And there, the confirmation of the women's vault, Alessia Dudnik taking gold, 9.987, the girl who didn't even make the top 36 final. Didn't compete in the all-round because there were 3 Russian girls better than her over the 4 pieces of apparatus. And there, confirmation of the pommel, Valentin McGillney taking gold with the 10, Andreas Becker from East Germany taking the silver, Li Jing from China taking the bronze. So 3 different nations represented there as well, and that's good to see. We'll take another break there. We'll be back with the rings and uneven bars final in a couple of moments. Quite a surprise in some ways that she is such a good vaulter, Monica, because she's not particularly strong looking or particularly tall. In fact, she's quite petite, but she really does manage to pull it off when it counts, doesn't she?
I think certain vaults, especially with Alessia's shape, she did a double twisting Yurchenko, so she twists like a pencil very, very rapidly, and that vault lends itself to her particular shape.
Little Lashanova with the laughing eyes in 4th place.
Sechste mit 9,743 Punkten aus Rumänien, Gabriela Potorak. Siegte mit 9,568 Punkten.
Nice to see Bulgarians, Americans, Russians, all represented in a final. Fandi there from China, getting certificates for being runners-up in the final event. And of course, proudly, Brandy Johnson in the bronze medal position there. Larissa Lowing from Canada made a sad debut to the final, but nevertheless, she's got a certificate to prove her presence. World vault champion Olesha Dudnik performing that double twisting Yurchenko, which took her to gold.
So a wave to the crowd, and the Soviet Union at the moment have still got a stranglehold on the gold medals. They won the team event in the men's and women's competition. We had Korobczynski as the all-round men's champion. We had Svetlana Boginskaya as the women's champion. And on the two finals, so far decided today, the USSR continuing to dominate.
Siegerehrung der 25. Weltmeisterschaften im Kunstturnen Stuttgart 1989.
Victory ceremony of the 25th World Gymnastics Championships.
Cérémonie protocolaire des 25e Championnats du Monde. Die Ehrung der Sieger am Pauschenpferd nehmen vor William Rötzheim, Mitglied des Technischen Komitees des Internationalen Turnerbundes.
Siegfried Fischer, Mitglied des Exekutivkomitees des Internationalen Turnerbundes.
Nikola Hadjev, Mitglied des Exekutivkomitees des Internationalen Turnerbundes.
Und die Ehrenpreise der Mercedes-Benz AG überreicht Herr Jörg Schleier.
The presentation party just being introduced.
Am Pauschenpferd 1989.
First and world champion at the Pommel Horse 1989.
Premier et champion du monde au cheval d'Arcan 1989.
Mit 10,00 Punkten aus der UdSSR, Valentin Mogilny.
Valentin Mogilny steps up to take his second world pommel title. He won in Montreal in 1985, missed out in 1987, but he's back here again in 1989 to regain the world pommel horse title.
Und damit Gewinner der Silbermedaille.
Second and winner of the silver
Quite an achievement to remain at the top of the world 4 years later.
Mit 9,962 Punkten aus der Deutschen Demokratischen Republik, Andreas Wecker.
Yes, there are always young pretenders snapping at your heels, and there's one of them. Andreas Wecker from East Germany took silver. Wecker becoming a real force in the men's field. We know he's a high bar specialist, but now with that extra upper body strength that he's put on since the European Championships even, he's looking like a real contender on pommel horse and rings as well.
China in the bronze medal position for the second time today in the men's events. Li Jing, proud to receive the bronze. Chinese also took the bronze in the men's team event. But again, 3 different nations on the rostrum: the Soviet Union, East Germany and China. Gymnasts being presented with gifts from the organising body, the West German Gymnastic Federation. Now gymnastics, a well-sponsored sport.
It's quite an amazing thing to go into the house of some of these top gymnasts. I was lucky enough to go into Yuri Korolyov's flat in Vladimir a couple of years ago and just see the number of medals that they actually win over a career when they're that successful. Now the minor placings. 4th place, Marian Rizan from Romania. And warm applause from Li Jing, because Li Chunyang, his Chinese teammate, comes in 5th.
9,687 Punkten aus der UdSSR, Igor Korobczynski.
And for once, Igor Korobczynski not up there on the top of the rostrum, but having to take one of the minor placings.
I
was going to say, Johnny doesn't look too happy. Polite, but not too pleased not to be on that rostrum. Tremendous competitor, Korobczynski.
Und Achter mit 8,7 Punkten aus Ungarn, Csaba Fajkus.
Dimitar Teskov and Csaba Fajkus bringing up the rear. So the Soviets have still won all the goals there are going so far. I wonder whether anyone can break that monopoly. We'll be back with the rings and asymmetric bars finals in a moment. Bars. First to go, Sandy Woolsey from the